Hello everyone. Today I will be discussing about the topic polymorphism. What is polymorphism in Java? Polymorphism is considered one of the important features of the object-oriented programming. Polymorphism allows us to perform single action in different ways. In other words, polymorphism allows you to define one interface and have multiple implementations. The word poly means many and morphs means forms. So it means many forms. Coming to real life examples of polymorphism. An individual can have different relationships with different people. A woman can be mother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend at all the same time. That is, she performs other behaviors in different situations. Second example is the human body has different organs. Every organ has a different functions to perform. That is, the heart is responsible for blood flow, the lungs for breathing, the brain for cognitive action, and kidneys for excretion. So, we have a standard method functions that perform differently depending upon the organ of the body. Difference between inheritance and polymorphism. Inheritance is one in which a new class is created, that is derived class, that inherits the features from the already existing class, that is base class. Whereas polymorphism is that which can be defined in multiple forms. Hence, it is basically applied to classes. Whereas in polymorphism, it is basically applied to functions or methods. Inheritance supports the concept of reusability and reduces code length in object oriented programming. Whereas polymorphism allows the object to decide which form of the function to implement at compile time, which is overloading, as well as runtime, which is overriding. Inheritance can be single, hybrid, multiple, hierarchical, and multi-level inheritance. Whereas in polymorphism, it can be compile time polymorphism as well as runtime polymorphism. Inheritance is used in pattern designing. Polymorphism is also used in pattern designing. Example of inheritance is the class bike can be inherit from the class of two-wheel vehicles, which in turn could be a subclass of vehicles. Example of polymorphism is the class bike can have method name set color, which changes the bike's color based on the name of the color you have entered. There are many types of polymorphism in Java. Mainly, it is divided into two types: compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Coming to compile time polymorphism in Java, it is also known as static polymorphism. This type of polymorphism is achieved by function overloading or operator overloading. But in Java, support operator overloading. Subtypes of compile time polymorphism. There are three subtypes of compile time polymorphism, which is function overloading, operator overloading, template. First, function overloading. It is a feature where multiple functions can have the same name but with different parameter list. The compiler will decide which function to be called based on the number and types of arguments passed to the function. Operator overloading. It is a feature where the operators such as plus, minus, etc. can be given additional meanings while applied to the user-defined data types. Template is a powerful feature that allows us to write generic functions and classes. A template is a blueprint for creating a family of functions or classes. Method overloading is defined more than one method with the same name but with different method signatures. The name of the method is same, but the number and type of the method parameters and method return types might be different. When an overloaded method is encountered, Java executes the version of the method whose parameter matches with the arguments used in the method call. Here is an program of method overloading. Runtime polymorphism in Java. Runtime polymorphism, also known as dynamic method dispatch, is the process that results a call to an overriding method at runtime. The process involves the use of the reference variable of a superclass to call an overridden method. Method overriding allows programmers to provide different implementations for the methods in parent class and subclass. The method name and the method signature would be the same but with different implementations. The actual method call depends on the type of the object at the runtime. Difference between compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. In compile time polymorphism, the call is resolved by the compiler, whereas in runtime polymorphism, the call is not resolved by the compiler. In compile time polymorphism is also known as static binding, early binding, and overloading as well. Runtime polymorphism is also known as dynamic binding, late binding, and overriding as well. Method overloading is the compile time polymorphism where more than one method shares the same name with different parameters or signature and different return types. Method overriding is the runtime polymorphism having the same method with same parameters or signatures but associated with compiled different classes. Compile time polymorphism is achieved by function overloading and operator overloading, whereas runtime polymorphism is achieved by virtual functions and pointers. Compile time polymorphism provides fast execution because the method that needs to be executed is also known early at the compile time. Whereas in runtime polymorphism, it provides slow execution as compared to early binding because the method that needs to be executed is also known at the runtime. Compile time polymorphism is flexible as all things execute at the compile time. Runtime polymorphism is more flexible as all things execute at the runtime. In compile time polymorphism, inheritance is not involved, whereas in runtime polymorphism also inheritance is not involved. Advantages of polymorphism in Java. There are mainly four advantages of polymorphism that are increases code reusability by allowing objects of different classes to be treated as objects of common class. Second, it improves readability and maintainability of a code by reducing the amount of code that needs to be written and maintained. Third, it supports dynamic binding, enabling the correct method to be called at the runtime based on the actual class of the object. Fourth, it enables objects to be treated as a single type, making it easier to write generic code that can handle objects of different types. Now, coming to disadvantages of polymorphism in Java, polymorphism can make the code more difficult to understand the behavior of an object, especially if the code is complex. Second, this may lead to performance issue as polymorphic behavior may require additional computations at the runtime. Thank you for watching.